Live from the studio at the Northwest Florida School of Biblical Studies, this is Have a Bible Question, where you are part of the program. Now, let's go to the Bible for answers to your Bible questions.
Amy's got a question on here. I think that's, Mark Tipton's got one too. It is our God-given right to be free. Let's start with that one. I've realized in America we say that. Do y'all agree with that? It's our God-given right to be free. I heard some laughter over the silence. Yeah. I mean, I could start if you need me to, but I was trying to open the floor. I would say no.
Painful agony of thinking.
I've thought about this. Is it our God-given right to be free? Not necessarily. I mean,
what were we created for?
Free will to serve Him, yes. Mm-hmm. But as far as, is it that, all right, even within the Old Testament, were there ways for people to not have their freedom even within the Old Testament law?
Yes.
Yeah. So
and in the New Testament.
Yeah, Philemon. Read the book of Philemon.
Yeah, Paul and Peter both deal with servants and masters.
And we are servants to whom we yield ourselves to obey.
I get that in this country we say that it's a God-given right to have certain things, but even in God's law, there were certain times that freedom was not a part of that.
Maybe even though
now, do we have the right of free will of choice?
Well, maybe truly is it is a right, but that doesn't guarantee that we enjoy that privilege. So I don't know. Am I at odds there? Saying,
well, I would say if it's a right, though, then there would be no exception of that. It would have to be the case for everything.
So the implication is then the man who is a servant, because he has the God-given right to be free, can do whatever he wants to do in order to make himself free.
See, I wouldn't agree with that.
No, yeah. and I'm sure that he wouldn't either. So we'd have to know what the ramifications or the boundaries are on this.
Yeah, so I think we have to be careful, because all right, it's our God-given right to be free. We got to give a book, chapter, verse if we're going to make the assertion. All right, book, chapter, verse for what is our God-given right to be free. Well, we're created in His image. We do all have the free choice. But let me tell you something. Whether you're imprisoned, whether you are, I can be a Christian in a communistic, socialistic, democratic, a republic, or any other type of government you're talking about. I can be a Christian, and nobody can take that away from me. They may expedite my death. They may hinder me in certain things that I may try and do. Like you were saying about Paul, he was in prison, so fine, I'll just have to write letters. It may limit how much I assemble the church because they have imprisoned me, but they cannot take my free will to love God and serve Him.
You're still free.
Yeah. Right. So if you mean freedom like that, yes. Freedom as far as like what we refer to in this country, I struggle with that on Bible book, chapter, verse, unless y'all bring me.
I think, again, going back to what you said about we can be Christians in any culture, we do need to be, again, focusing on that idea of being sojourners or being missionaries or whatever. But, wasn't that the prophecy that Daniel had about this kingdom that would consume all the other ones?
244.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what we're in the business of.
Lori Council puts on here, but Americans have a constitutional right to be free. And I think that you gave the qualifier right there. Mm-hmm. So there is a qualifier, right? And it always comes back to authority.
Yeah, constitutional right. And guys, look, listen. I think all of us in this room have alluded to this, that we as servants of God, as students of the Bible, as we study this, we get conflicted between here is the way we view about the Constitution and our political views, but then here's where God has spoken. And we've got to be careful. And I find myself in that many times over of, well, wait a minute. And I still remember I was in Ackerman, Mississippi, and it was over gun rights, over a previous presidential administration. And I was like, well, it's my God-given right. What? Wait a minute. What book, chapter, verse? Did I just say that? But I'd said it for years because that's what the Constitution says. And then I was like, wait a minute. They didn't establish in book, chapter, and verse where that God gave us that. Go ahead, Ray.
The Constitution wasn't penned by God, right?
What?
That's not an inspired writing, is it? I mean, I love it. I'm glad we have the freedoms, but I don't believe that was written by God. Do you guys?
It's not. The only book I can think of is under Second Opinions, maybe something like that.
Yeah.